What's up, everybody? My name is Amy, and this is the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast. Picture way that you're sitting on top of the world. What's up, everybody? My name is Amy, and this is the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast. My name is Amy. Welcome to my show. I hope everyone is having a very happy holiday. Merry Christmas to everyone from the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast. I guess I'm as ready as I'll ever be for Christmas. I'm here at my daughter's house with my daughter and granddaughter, spending Christmas with them. I unfortunately don't get to see my youngest daughter and my son-in-law because they're way over in Washington. So, it's sad. I tell you, Christmas is the saddest time of year for me, because I miss my mother and my grandmother so much, and and even though I still have my kids, and I am here, now spending Christmas with at least one of my kids, and my granddaughter, it's still, Christmas is just the most depressing time of year, and it makes you, miss your loved ones even more. And I carry on the tradition of making special dishes that my mother made and my Mama Ruby made. And one of those dishes is my mom's green Jello salad that she used to make every year for Christmas. And so I'm going to be making that later on today. It's an old recipe from the 60s, and my mom made it every year for Christmas. And then when she passed away in 2005, I took up making it, and I've made it every year since. And so that's my, biggest tradition that I carry on, along with some of the dishes and casseroles and stuff that Mama Ruby used to make for the holidays and stuff. But still, it is a very depressing time of year, and when you really miss the ones you've lost. But we must, press on, I guess. I've been away from YouTube for a little over a month now. I've not been completely off the internet, however, but I have been away from YouTube and my YouTube channel. And, many of you know why. The drama channels have taken over YouTube, and it's nothing but bickering and fighting and lawsuits and harassing and back and forth and bashing and hate and calling the police and child protective services on each other and all. And that shit is just fucking crazy. I mean, you people have lost your damn minds. You don't like somebody, don't like them. But move on with your life. I mean, I spent most of my life hating two people that destroyed me from the time I was a child. And that shit will eat you up. And those people deserved my hate. My stepfather and my stepmother, they deserved my hate. They abused me. They abused my mother. They were horrible people, and they deserved to be hated. But this hate that y'all got going on here on YouTube is unfucking real, and it's ridiculous. And I don't want any part of it. And if you want to spend every waking day of your life hating someone that on the internet, I hated my stepmother and my stepfather who abused me. And y'all are out here hating on people on the damn internet you don't even know. And calling the police and filing lawsuits and calling child protective services and stuff. You people have destroyed the true crime community. And that is why I left. I just didn't want any more part of it. But you know what? True crime has been my passion for over 30 years. And I've been doing this a hell of a lot longer than anybody here on YouTube. Just because you might have a bigger channel than I do, don't mean that you have more education or more knowledge than I do. A lot of y'all like to picture yourselves as being so, but if people want to buy that, be gullible enough to buy that shit, that's on them. I don't feel a bit sorry. What this episode is about today is I can't do fucking stupid with you people anymore. Like, I can't do fucking stupid anymore. I would rather just not hear from anyone or talk to anyone if I got to deal with stupid fucking people. Ignorance, I can tolerate. Ignorance, we can fix. But stupid is a practice. And there's no fixing stupid. And needless to say, there is no lack of stupid on the internet, to which I have dealt with for the last couple of days. Getting around to talking about true crime, I want to get into talking, some things about some true crime cases, and then get into some of the stupid that I've dealt with over the last couple of days. But, there's been a lot of horrible crimes happen this year, and trials and whatnot. And, we've got Lori Vallows now in Arizona facing charges for the murder of her husband, Charles Vallows, the guy that she was married to before, Chad Daybell. And then we've got Chad Daybell going to trial as well over the murder of his wife, Tammy Daybell, as well as Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallows, which were Lori Vallows' children, two youngest children. The judge has ordered for Tylee's remains to be released to Colby Ryan, her brother, who is also Lori Vallows' child. He no longer has anything to do with his mother. But anyway, he has received custody of Tylee Ryan's remains after 3 years now. And so she will finally be able to be laid to rest. Also, the judge denied Chad Daybell's motion to dismiss the death penalty, which is a big win for, those who are seeking justice for Tylee and JJ and Charles and Tammy Daybell and everybody. A big win for them. Kay and Larry Woodcock have just been through living hell. And, I sent Kay Woodcock a message day before yesterday. I just send you my love, my prayers, my thoughts, my shoulder. I just love, I send you people everything I've got. My full love and support, because those people have been through hell and they're fixing to have to go through all that hell again with Chad's trial. And those are some strong people. And, I don't know. I don't know if I could make it through something like that, to be honest with you. It's just what happened to those children is so horrific that I can't even comprehend it. In the name of God, that's what baffles me. Murdered in the name of God. Crazy. So, getting around to stupid, I had the pleasure of being attacked by one of Bryan Kohberger's supporters, which I thought was hilarious. I get it. Bryan Kohberger, he's got his little fan club out here, and and more power to him. That there's always those people. Believe me, done that. Been there, done that. I've been on the opposite side of a triple homicide. I've been on the side of the defendants in a triple homicide. That I don't believe the people who were convicted of that triple homicide are guilty. And that'd be the West Memphis 3 case. You know me very well. You know that I've been a long, long time advocate for the West Memphis 3. I've walked the Capitol steps. I've dealt with the governor's shit and his entourage, dealt with their shit and that crazy lady up there in Corey Cox's office. And, I've been to hell and back supporting the West Memphis 3. A lot of people think those boys are guilty. I don't. But, in the beginning, I can remember back in the 90s when all of it happened, and I can remember thinking, assuming, when I saw them on TV being arrested and everything, I assumed that they were guilty. You want to assume that the police got the right man, the police got the right person, okay? But then when we got into when you get into the trial and you hear all the testimony and you hear all the outside stuff and all the stuff that was done to railroad those guys, then you're like, no, wait a minute, I don't think those guys are guilty. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. I reserve the right to change my mind about Bryan Kohberger should the evidence present itself that tells me he is innocent. I reserve that right to change my mind. I've changed my mind before. In 3 or 4 cases, as a matter of fact. And I don't believe the people that were convicted and sent to prison for these crimes were guilty. So, I get it. But as it stands right now, in my mind, I fully believe the cops got the right man. But to come and attack me on Twitter and say, I hope you get sued for slander and blah, 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 blah. And I'm sued for slander for what? Because I called him an alleged killer? He is an alleged killer. It's alleged that he killed 4 Idaho students for no damn reason. Okay? Anyway. So I'm just like, sit down, little girl. You know, shut up. The internet keeps receipts. The internet keeps receipts. Fuck you and your receipts. You people and your receipts. Just laugh. It's just laugh. You're nuts. But, so anyway, I knew that Bryan Kohberger had supporters out there, but I did not know what it is they actually think, or let me rephrase that, who they actually think the killer might be instead of Bryan or whatever. So I humored myself for about 15 minutes reading some back and forth BS about their theory on who might have really killed the Idaho 4. It wasn't Bryan Kohberger. And my best guess is I guess they think the DoorDash driver did it. I don't know. Or was Bryan the DoorDash driver? Who is the DoorDash driver? Blah, 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 blah. Just rabbit holes of bullshit that make absolutely no sense at all. But like I said, I reserve the right to change my mind once I hear all the evidence, all the testimony, and everything, because there is so much about this case that we don't know. This case is under a gag order. They're not releasing any inside information on very much at all, just what they have to, and what goes on in these public hearings, you know, that he has and whatnot. You know, that's the only, that's all we know. You know, we don't know who saw what, you know, and from the surviving witnesses, and, you know, there's just so much that we don't know. And I can tell you right now that Bryan Kohberger's little fan club ain't got no more inside information than I or you do. So come down off your high horse and let's get to trial. Let's hear all the evidence, or see all the evidence, hear all the evidence, witness testimony, medical examiner testimony, DNA testimony, everything. And see, did Bryan Kohberger kill the Idaho 4 or not? Stay tuned, kids. Now I want to get into talking about one of the cases that I call my baby cases. A case very, very near and dear to me. It is one of the top 5 cases of all cases in the world that I want to see solved before I'm dead and gone. And that would be the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 lost radar contact on a routine flight from Kuala Lumpur Airport to Beijing, China. It lost radar contact in between Malaysian airspace and Vietnamese airspace. It lost secondary radar contact way off course over in the Andaman Sea. That was where the plane lost secondary radar contact. It is believed to have flown on for several more hours until it crashed somewhere in the southern Indian Ocean, believed to have crashed somewhere in the 7th arc, around 2,000 kilometers off the coast of Perth, Australia. Now, there have been multi-million-dollar searches done in the 7th arc, and searches for debris, searches for the black box, the black boxes, which really, for the first 30 days, release a ping signal from when to be able to try and locate those black boxes. However, when you're, a gajillion miles underneath the Indian Ocean somewhere, that's just not an easy place to search, even with underwater sonar and all the underwater technology that we have. I mean, it took 80 something years to find the Titanic, and maybe in another 80 years someone will finally find MH370. I don't know, but that is one of the top 5 cases of all cases in this entire world that I want to see solved before I'm dead and gone, along with who killed John Benet Ramsey, where is and what happened to Morgan Nick. I want to know the truth about who really killed the 3 little kids in West Memphis. I still hope someday for an arrest in connection with the murder of my friends Kevin Ives and Don Henry on the railroad tracks. But, and there's still plenty of people involved in that case that are alive. A lot of the players are dead, but there's still some of them that are alive that could be prosecuted. And the disappearance of MH370. That's my top 5 baby cases. This week, well, these past few weeks, there's been a lot going on over on Twitter, and I still call it Twitter because calling it X just sounds stupid to me, so I just still refer to it as Twitter. But anyway, there's just been this deal. This guy Ashton, he claims that he had leaked video footage from this was classified information that got leaked, and and he had this video footage of MH370 in flight in the Andaman Sea, and then it is being chased by these 3 orbs. It flies on for a while, and these 3 orbs are chasing it, and then it goes into a quote portal, and then poof, disappears along with the orbs. Okay, it was teleported. Okay, so you're going to convince me that I really don't remember when the first airplane was invented, but if I sit and think about how many airplanes are in the air right now at this very moment, probably hundreds that are in flight in the air at this very moment. Times that by however many hundreds of years that we've had airplanes, but yet ET only decided to snatch this one particular airplane. Like, where was this plane teleported to? Mars or Jupiter or what? But he has gained a lot of attention on Twitter, and he's got his fan club as well, and then he's got his haters, or people, not necessarily haters, but people that don't believe him. And anyway, my buddy Ken on Twitter, I've been talking to Ken for years. Like I said, I've been talking to people on Twitter for years regarding MH370. And my buddy Ken, bless his heart, I am so glad he is more educated than I am about a lot of this, because I rely on him for, hi DJ, how are you? Merry Christmas. I rely on Ken for a lot of the, not legal mumbo jumbo, but the more sophisticated, shall I say, mumbo jumbo regarding aviation, regarding satellites and satellite positions and mathematical stuff and just and lots of other aviation stuff and drift modeling and things like that. I depend on him for a lot of that. I've always found his word to be very truthful. And it's like, if you give me a scenario of what you think happened, and I look at the evidence and I think, I think you could be right, or maybe I agree with some of it, but some of it I don't. Or irregardless, I take Ken's word. I take him at his word. And he's always been a straight shooter. He's always been very kind to me. And so, like I said, I depend on him for a lot of the, more sophisticated aviation, mumbo jumbo and all of this. But, me being an armchair detective, I come at this as I would any other criminal investigation into a, say murder, because that's what this was. This was the murder of 200 and something people aboard an airplane. I come at this with an investigative mind, looking for the who, what, where, when, why, and how. And there's so much of this of things about MH370 that has been kept under wraps. Of course, the government wants to push the pilot murder, taking his own life theory, and that the pilot did all this. I have never believed that the pilot did this. It never made sense for the pilot to have done this. And there's been no information so far in all these years that has come forward that would make me believe that the pilot was solely responsible for crashing this airplane and taking his own life, as well as the lives of all the passengers and crew. There's just been nothing that has been put to me that that I believe that. Is it possible? Yes, it's possible. I mean, people let me down every day, So, I mean, yeah, it's possible, but to me, the facts do not point to a pilot murder taking their own life. It just don't. So you have to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, well, if the pilot didn't do this, who did this? Or why did this happen? How did this happen? I look at everything I can the most simplistic way. Exactly. And, and speaking of rocket science, there's kind of a lot of rocket science involved in this, because that's what I was saying. I depend on Ken for that kind of stuff, because the science parts of aviation and, and all that and satellites and all that kind of stuff, because I don't even begin to know anything about none of that stuff, DJ. I really don't. But so you have to look at this. Okay, then what did happen, or who did do this? My first thought was that there was a fire on board, and that the pilots tried to turn back to Malaysia, and land at one of their detour places and were not able to. And when they lost secondary radar in the Andaman Sea, I believe that we had another Helios incident where everyone was rendered unconscious by hypoxia, and the plane flew on for hours until it ran out of fuel and crashed somewhere in the southern Indian Ocean. That's what I wanted to believe happened. And, you know, there's still the possibility that is what really happened. Don't know. But I've leaned away from that through time, let's say. I've leaned away from that idea. Now, in the very beginning, when all this happened and all the conspiracy theories started coming out, the one conspiracy theory that I found any legitimacy to was the plane being flown to Diego Garcia, and that the four people from Freescale Semiconductor that had filed for those patents that was on that plane, that once they were gone, that patent was relinquished to Jacob Rothschild. Once those people were dead and gone, that it automatically went to Jacob Rothschild. I mean, the math there is simple. Diego Garcia that's British territory, okay? It's a military base, but that's British territory. British territory. Guess who's thick as thieves with the Queen Elizabeth? Jacob Rothschild. So that is the one conspiracy theory that I always found compelling, that I felt like I could latch onto and believe. And the more information that comes out and the more in-depth studying that people do, especially my buddy Ken, he believes that there were decoys involved in all this. This was a very, very, very sophisticated hijacking and cover-up of that airplane. Very sophisticated. We're talking about spoofing data. We're talking about decoy planes and all kinds of very sophisticated airplane snatching, okay? But I just think that something very sinister happened that night, and that this plane was intercepted. I'm just not real. I still feel like there's a big chunk of the puzzle missing, that I'm not for sure on what crashed where, when, and how. But also recently, okay, hang on. Yeah, you remember this crash? I was more interested in the people on this flight. I think there was more than just a plane crash. Exactly. No, the plane has not ever been found. But okay, you know, there have been pieces of the plane that have been found. The flaperon that was found on Reunion Island, I think it was Reunion Island. Don't, you know, you politically correct people, don't come after me if I said the wrong island name, but I want to say it's Reunion Island. There was stuff found along the southern coast of Africa, in Mozambique, and I think a couple of the other little islands out there. But there was also one piece of a plane we don't know what plane, but a plane found on Kangaroo Island, which is south of Perth. There was a one piece found, but they've never been able to actually link it to MH370. Well, recently, an Australian fisherman came forward and claimed that he was fishing off the coast of Robe, which is just past Perth as well, or I'm sorry, Kangaroo Island. But anyway, it's very near. And this fisherman claims that, you know, he pulls this big net up, and there it is, bigger than shit, a wing, a piece of a wing, or something of a commercial airplane. He recognized it immediately, he claims, and that it was so heavy that they couldn't even pull it up on deck, much less, you know, drag it back to shore. Because I kind of made an obnoxious comment. I was like, damn it, he should have drug it back to shore, net and all, you know. But, you know, he didn't take a photo of it or anything. So we can't say for sure what he caught in that net, and neither can anyone else. But he swears it was a piece of or a part of a wing of a commercial aircraft, and that he caught it just off the coast of Robe. He had to cut a $20,000 net because they tried all day. They messed with that thing all day trying to get it undone, and they finally just had to cut the net and cut their losses. And they even came in early from that fishing trip. But where this fisherman was fishing, the location where this guy was fishing, is not far from Kangaroo Island. And in the drift model, there's been several drift models made, and one of the beliefs is that MH370 crashed at 43 South in the Southern Indian Ocean, which is just past the seventh arc, what's known as the seventh arc in this whole saga. And there was a debris field spotted on satellite radar in that area. So, do I believe this man's testimony? Do I believe what he says? Actually, I do. I'm gonna tell you, I wouldn't know this man if he knocked on the door right now. However, I can tell you that I trust his word more than I do any government official's word. And that's sad. That's sad when you say I trust a stranger I don't even know more than I do my own government. There's something wrong with that picture. And I'm going to tell you, there's a reason why I don't trust my own government. You just look into the case of my murdered friends, Kevin Ives and Don Henry, and you'll understand why when you're talking about CIA and FBI and you know, the powers that be, I don't trust none of them people. None of them. And that's just sad that, you know, I don't buy the plane parts added. This is like saying that landing gear from 9/11 was overlooked. Oh, I know. Yeah, and then it was found, wasn't that landing gear found like broad as daylight, if I recall, DJ? For one reason is they know exactly what happened to this plane. Somebody does. And, a lot of people believe that the Malaysian government is in bed with the United States government on this. Because here we go back to what and who was on that airplane. There was cargo secretly loaded onto MH370 before it left Kuala Lumpur. That cargo did not go through any kind of security or anything like that. I mean, it was just loaded on there in the dead of night, like a couple of stowaways, in secret. The whole mess was secret. And what it was a bunch of ion lithium batteries and some other electronic stuff that the U.S. did not want China to have. Okay. Then you've got these 4 very important people who were on this airplane, along with some other important people too. But 4 of these guys were really important. And you're not going to tell me that this airplane with such important cargo on it and important people on it, that it just coincidentally happened to crash, that it just coincidentally, drove thousands and thousands upon and hours plus off course and went and ditched in the southern Indian Ocean. Like, if you're going to do something as a political stance, you want people to know that you did it for a political stance. You leave behind a manifesto or a letter to something. You leave something behind saying that by the time you read this, I will have already crashed this plane and killed all these people because I'm pissed off because they throw my buddy in jail. Like, that's what they want to claim, is that this pilot crashed this plane and took his own life plus hundreds of other lives for some political bullshit involving his buddy, who got 5 years for sodomy, because sodomy is illegal in Malaysia. Okay. I hate to be graphic, but it is. Anyway, that's what the guy got in trouble for. I'm sorry. I'm not taking my own life, or none of my buddies that's going to jail for drugs, or something like that. I mean, it just does not, none of it makes any sense. It never has made sense for that pilot to have done this. But it has always made sense that something way more sinister happened, and a major conspiracy and cover-up happened. I just can't, like I said, none of us can really pinpoint or be exact, but I'm a gambling woman, okay? I've been gambling since before I was old enough to gamble. And this is what I would gamble on, is that this was a major government conspiracy and cover-up involving who and exactly what they did and how they did it, is up for debate. But I think that, the big crew of people that I've talked to, on Twitter over the last several, since this happened over the last several years, that, so many people have very legitimate, I'll just say, cases. They make a legitimate case with their theories. And, Ken especially, his theories have made all the sense to me. The only thing is that I think they either did land the plane at Diego Garcia, or it or it did accidentally crash as they were trying to get it to Diego Garcia or something. It's really hard to know. However, it makes more sense to me that if you're going to go through all this trouble to hijack this plane, and I say hijack, I mean snatch, take, however they did it, and got this, plane off of its course to Beijing and all the way over into the southern Indian Ocean, and, just right out past Diego Garcia, coincidentally, I feel like the people that were on that plane, these important people that were on that plane, would be more useful to government or to a government alive and, held in captivity or whatever, to, do whatever it is those guys do, than to have just, chased that plane down and forced it to crash. Which, that's kind of another theory that I have, is that, the plane was forced to crash. Be the same as if you were chasing me in my car and ran me off the road and forced me to crash. That this plane was intercepted and somehow forced to crash. And Ken believes that MH370 actually crashed in the Andaman Sea. I'm not quite sold on that just yet. Like I said, I still have this deep conspiracy theory that, those people would have been way more useful to government alive and could be forced to do work for them and research and whatnot. Because they can hold you somewhere in this world and won't nobody ever know where you are. So how many people are missing, nowadays that we can't find? So what's to say the government didn't kidnap these people, holding them hostage or something? I don't know. All I know is that something very, very sinister happened, and somebody's responsible for this. And this is, one of my top 5 cases of all cases in this entire world that I won't solve before I'm dead and gone. I can't tell you the nights that I've spent researching this stuff and talking to people on Twitter and asking this question and that question and looking into stuff and whatnot and saying, could this have happened? Could that have happened? Could there be plane parts here? There's uninhabited islands down in the French territory in the Antarctic islands that are uninhabited, where there's scientific research going on, and they're manned by 100 or so, military personnel. They are uninhabited islands where scientists and researchers are living, not in just any Tom, Dick, and Harry. So I feel like, the pieces of MH370 that have washed up, like on Mozambique and the southern coast of Africa and Reunion Island and whatnot, I feel like there should be debris on those uninhabited islands out there. But it's not like any of us can go down there and look. Even Blaine Gibson, who did search the coasts of Africa as well as the islands as well. He's the one, he's found several pieces that are believed to have been from the plane. But this new information with this guy, this fisherman from Australia that come forward and, claims, it's unfortunate because it's a loss for everyone, in my opinion, because, we can't be sure of what he caught in that net without having seen it or having a photograph of it or anything like that. But yet, whoever told him that it was a piece of a shipping container that fell off a Russian ship ought to be slapped in the mouth. How absurd is it for this guy to call and say, yeah, I think I caught a piece of wing from a commercial airplane in my fishing net. No, it was what you probably caught was a piece of a shipping container that fell off a Russian ship. How the fuck would they know without having seen it? So no one can say what exactly that man had in his net. But I'm going to tell you that I will take his word over him saying that it was a piece of a airplane wing, than I am some government official saying, oh, it was just a piece of a Russian shipping container, no big deal, just ignore it. Because there's been too much evidence ignored in this case. All the witnesses that have claimed they saw this and saw that during the night, they were either on another plane or they were on an island in the Maldives or over in this sea or that ocean or whatever, fishing or on a oil rig or whatever they were doing. Was countless sightings of what was thought to be the plane. And every single one of them witnesses were ignored. Those people in the Maldives, no, you didn't see that plane. Ain't no way you saw that plane. No, you didn't see nothing. Oh, that was another plane. Have gotten the runaround and brushed off and put off. It aggravates the shit out of me. Anyone, yeah, DJ, anyone can be disappeared and information that they don't want anyone to know. Yeah, now you have a target on. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just, those people, first of all, the people aboard that plane, there were children on that plane, innocent children. And these families, Philip Wood, whose kids have had to grow up without a father, and just all these people, it just breaks my heart every time I see them. And I see these people just, collapsing and crying out for their loved ones. And, and I just don't understand why these people don't feel like the loss of this plane is as important to the world of aviation as I feel that it is. Because it makes me leery as hell to get on an airplane thinking that it could fall out of the sky and I could land in the ocean somewhere and no one ever find us. I mean, and planes, DJ, yeah, they do malfunction. And things go wrong and they crash. Watch all 22 seasons of air crash investigation like me. I've seen all 22 seasons, every single episode, more than once. You'd be shocked at how some of these planes crash from the least little thing, mechanical thing or failure and the one thing, and I'll say this to all the other MH370 enthusiasts, I'll say this. The one thing that I have learned from Greg Fife and from watching air crash investigation and listening to Greg Fife is that there's a first time for everything. Just because you think that this can't fail or that can't fail or these two things can't fail at the same time, or the plane can't do this or the plane can't do that, or it can't, or whatever, it can. There's a first time for everything. So, there's another possibility out there right there that every one of us could be completely off base. That whatever happened to this plane is something that none of us have ever even thought about yet or thought of yet. There's a first time for everything. And just because you say, well, a Boeing 777 can't do this, or, a Boeing 737 can't do this or can't do that, yes, it can. That is the one thing I have learned from watching that show and learned from Greg Fife. Greg Fife is one of the investigators that investigated the plane crash of American Airlines Flight 1420 that my friend was on. It crashed from Dallas to Little Rock. It crashed at the Little Rock Airport. And my friend and her 2 kids were on it. They survived, but it screwed their whole family up. Screwed them up, screwed their whole family up, screwed them kids up. Those kids were 2 and 4 when that happened. And the hell that especially the 4-year-old, the hell that little girl went through is so heartbreaking. I've never shared those stories because, she's a family friend. And I just don't, it's not my story to tell. And, I just don't feel right about sharing a child's horrific experience being in a plane crash. I just don't think that's my place to tell anybody that. But she went through some tough times. And on the 20th anniversary in 2019, my friend got on a plane again for the first time, and they flew her from Little Rock to Fayetteville, just a short trip here in Arkansas, from Little Rock to Fayetteville and back to Little Rock. And she was just terrified, but she did it. And that's the first time she had been back on a plane ever since the crash in 1999. You know why I drive. I've flown and like to fly, but hey, at least you have control of your car. I mean, if somebody swerves on your lane, you can at least swerve off in the ditch, or the gravel or whatever, and try to avoid being hit. On an airplane, you ain't got no control over nothing. And that's just terrifying. You can swerve and miss somebody. You can't swerve and miss nothing in no airplane. So, gosh, when me and my daughter and granddaughter flew to Virginia, when my youngest daughter was living in Virginia a couple of years ago, when we flew there, I was a fucking basket case, DJ. I was. My ex-mother-in-law had to give me some Xanax. She did. God love her, the old battle axe. I'll be seeing her this weekend for Christmas. But my ex-mother-in-law, she gave me some Xanax for the ride. Because I was just terrified to get on that airplane. Because like I said, because before that, I had not been on a plane since 1991. And because me and my oldest daughter, whose house I'm at now, she was just a baby. And we flew to see her dad, who was out of state working on a job. And but that was before 9/11. That was before the crash of 1420. That was before the crash of MH370. That was before a lot of stuff, you know. Oh yeah, I was a total basket case on that ride. Well, DJ, what have you been doing? Have I missed anything exciting other than stupidity in the last few weeks? I've been battling bronchitis too. I don't know if I told y'all, but Ashley and I both got sick the week of Thanksgiving with bronchitis. We got caught in a rainstorm, and it had turned bitter cold, and we both got sick. And I've been battling that also all month. There's another reason why I've been away from YouTube. But like I said, I've just been, away from here just because it's just, it gets frustrating, trying to compete with all these haters and hater channels and drama channels. It's just completely taken over the true crime genre and true crime community here on YouTube. And, people just can't go on and play in their own sandbox. They got to try to pick and steal everybody else's toys out of their sandbox. And it's just insane. I tell you what, somebody needs to do something about that SF Investigates dude. Oh, Steve Fisher, that guy's a nutcase. Somebody needs to put a stop to him. For every horrible thing that people think about Bullhorn Betty, honey, there's way more horrible about SF Investigates. I wouldn't trust that man to take my garbage to the curb. And that's no lie. I would not trust Steve Fisher to take my garbage to the curb. And he is far worse damaging than anything Bullhorn Betty could do. I mean, anything. People are still freaking mad at her over the damn protests, over going to Quentin Simon's house and of course Don and Candace's fan club, and mad at her for that. And just, people, get over your damn selves. Good Lord. Again, please stop wasting your life away dedicated to hating someone every single day of your life. That shit will destroy you. It will flat destroy you. It did me, and the people that I hate deserved it. They did something. Hell, Bullhorn and Betty ain't done nothing to nobody. She ain't done nothing to hurt anybody. Hell, all she's tried to do is help people. She may go about it in a way that you don't approve of, but, we each march to the beat of our own drum. I know I do. I march to the beat of my own drum, and ain't nobody going to tell me any other way to do it except the way I want to do it. And she's the same way. But boy, her haters, man, they are religious. Jesus Christ, they never stop. Whew. Oh, yes, definitely. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, hell, I don't like about 98% of the people in this community. But that's beside the point. I don't like them. I might mention it and I move on. I mean, these people just don't stop. I mean, they are dedicated to heart, soul, and every ounce of their being dedicated to it. But that SF Investigates, man, he's something else. He is something else. And, look, if you have evidence or you have knowledge about something, about a crime, and you don't report it to the police, I get it. There's a multitude of reasons of why people don't report stuff to the police. You know, here in true crime, we always say you see something, you say something. You know, better to be safe than sorry. But when you have someone that has knowledge of a crime or knowledge of a missing person or something like that, and they don't want to talk to the police, or they won't go to the police, or they won't, 9.5 times out of 10, they're hiding something. They don't want to get mixed up in something or get caught up in something that they don't want to be a part of. But if you've got nothing to lose or nothing to hide, then why not go to the police? And, you know, once you do go and talk to the police, if you feel like, hey, you know, I need a lawyer, call you a lawyer. That is your amendment right. And believe me, if you take me in and question me for a crime, I'm going to call a lawyer, whether I did it or I didn't. I'm going to call a lawyer. Because why? I don't trust the police. But I'll still tell them everything I know. I ain't got nothing to hide. But to be angry because someone is harping about so-and-so knowing about a crime and not saying anything, you know, that I kind of think that's fair game, you know. But anyway, like I said, different strokes for different folks. We all march to the beat of our own drum and do things the way, you know, we feel we, you know, should do them or want to do them, or whatever is, you know, gonna, you know, maybe help the situation. But, you know, I just don't, I don't know. Like I said, I think SF investigates a whole hell of a lot more dangerous and way more damaging than Betty could ever be. That's just my thoughts and opinions about it, you know. Well, I guess I've kind of really talked about everything I wanted to talk about. Like I said, not much is, you know, going on other than that I've been, you know, we've been chatting a lot on Twitter and stuff regarding MH370, and, you know, and chatting with my buddy Ken and other different people and whatnot. And anyway, I was talking about this guy Ashton earlier that, you know, the one that wants to make you believe that these 3 orbs chased down MH370 and teleported it to somewhere beyond, I don't know, the Star Trek compound or something. Where are they at, DJ? Did you watch Star Trek? I don't know. I've never watched Star Trek, but Galactica, or well, I don't know where the hell he thinks they teleported that thing to. But anyway, here's the thing, okay? First of all, I don't believe in aliens. I'm not saying it's impossible. You know, I know all about the Roswell incident and, you know, and all this stuff and all these UFO sightings and whatnot. You know, I think it's our own governments. And I say our own governments, and that I'm speaking to everyone listening and to whoever your government is. I think it's our own government. And, you know, flying shit around I don't know. I'm not saying that aliens are impossible. Oh, you watched Western? That's why you and Griff get along so well. Y'all both, y'all like John Wayne. I can see y'all two sitting there together watching a John Wayne movie. But I just don't believe in aliens, you know. And I'm more afraid of my own people I'm more afraid of my own government than I am E.T., or Alf, I just am. And, like I said, you want to make me believe that of all the million gazillion flights that have flown through the earthly skies over the last some odd years that we've had airplanes, that aliens only chose to take MH370 and teleport it to wherever the fuck they teleported it to. Come on. Bullhorn Betty's got a sandbox in Florida she'll sell you. If you believe that. Like I said, I'm not saying it's completely impossible that aliens are real, or that life exists on another planet. I mean, it's no more far-fetched than if you apply common sense to the belief that we as Christians believe that we were created by God, who was an entity, who was a man, but not a real man like you, DJ, but an entity or what. Now, Jesus was a real man, but God allegedly was not of the flesh. He was an entity, a spirit, or however you want to. But I feel like it's no more far-fetched than we as Christians believing that an entity created us. Then is there life on other planets? So, I'm not saying it's entirely impossible, but like I said, those people are not what scares me. My own government and my own people are what scares me, not extraterrestrials, not Alf, not E.T., none of that. So, I don't know. I don't know what's real. Maybe I'll believe it when one lands in this field out in front of the house. There's a big old horse pasture out here. Got plenty of place to land one. So bring it on, kids. Let's see if you're for real. I don't know. Oh, you do? You think aliens are Nephilim? It's possible, I mean, like I said, if God created us, who's to say he didn't create some other kind of life form on somewhere else? Like I said, it's no more far-fetched to believe that other life forms were created somewhere else than it is to believe that we were created, So, I mean, a lot of people believe in science and believe that we were evolved from apes. We didn't evolve from apes. We evolved from generations of mixed races having babies, and mixed races, having children together and stuff. That's why we're all different colors. You line 10 people up in a line, no one's going to be the same color. No one's going to have the exact same color of skin. The only difference is the how much melanin we have in our body. I believe that Noah was an albino. According to the book of Enoch, I believe that Noah was an albino, and I believe that his 3 sons were all 3 of different brown, but different shades of brown. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though I'm considered white, my skin is a tan color. It's a, and especially in the summertime. In the summertime, I have to buy my makeup in the black women's section because I'm so dark. when I've got a full tan. So, sun exposure, that's another thing that, anyway, because that's what I believe. I believe that we are all descendants of Noah. But there is question of whether I've read that there is questions about whether or not Adam was brown or black or whatever. Like I said, that's a whole nother subject and a whole nother, lot of research to do in that. But, you never can tell. I don't know. I just know that, I just don't quite believe in aliens and whatnot. And why on earth would they have chose this one plane of all the flights that have ever been in the skies on the earth in all these years? They took that one plane. I mean, is there evidence somewhere that some other planes have been snatched and teleported? Is that where Amelia Earhart is? They never found her plane either. Maybe they got her too. Who knows? I don't know. I just think it's absurd to try and make me believe that aliens abducted it or whatever. And then when you disagree, the funny thing is about this Ashton guy is anybody that disagrees with him, he blocks them. And I got blocked by him. Because I agreed with one of his biggest haters, I guess. That's how he caught on to me. But he saw me agree with one of his biggest haters, and so he was like, "Well, you find the plane then, lady." Well, you ain't gonna find it on Mars, I can tell you that. I don't know exactly where it's at, but I can tell you it ain't on Mars or Jupiter or anywhere else like that. I don't know, people are stupid, but I joined the Blocked by Ashton Club. I'm a very proud member now of the Blocked by Ashton on Twitter, X now. So move over, boys. The bitch needs a seat on the bus. Thank you. Okay, DJ. Well, I'm glad you joined me in my chat. I hadn't seen you in a while. Like I said, I hadn't been on here, so. But anyway, I guess that's really all I had for today. I just wanted to come on and check in with everybody and see how everybody's doing. See who was available to chat and whatnot, and just kind of get caught up on a little bit of true crime and things that are going on and whatnot. And they're looking at postponing Bryan Kohberger's trial, and we still got the Lori Vallow's second trial to go, and Chad Daybell's trial to go, and whatnot. And I don't know. I hope 2024 brings more answers to these unsolved cases, like the disappearance of Summer Wells and the disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. I hope we find Harmony Montgomery's remains. I hope we find Monkey Vaughn. I hope we find Oakley Carlson's remains. I want to see some people get some justice in 2024, and that's what I am praying for, is justice for these victims in 2024. So with that in mind, I guess that's really all I have. Everyone, I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Take care, and I will talk to you all soon. Peace out.
What's happening, y'all?
if you're looking for a sad true crime podcast, then get up off of that thing and boogie on over to the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast, where we give you the lowdown on all things true crime. Oh, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Catch you on the flip